my people gave me a folder, and in that folder is a speech, and what I've decided I'm going to do is not use that speech. If it's okay with you, I want to just speak from the heart, be a little vulnerable with you. Is that okay?
Yes.
Be a little vulnerable with you because the judge is right. I have a great affinity for these programs. The programs that you participated in have been very important to me, not just in my public life as a senator or as Attorney General now, but also as a young kid growing up, as a young adult. And it's something that I think is very important. We want to, as much as possible, have people avoid the criminal justice system as much as possible. And when we are able to set up programs like this and have people get to the next level without sending them through a prison cell, I think we should be happy about that. We should be supporting those types of programs. Now I'm going to back up, and I'm going to tell you the reason why this is so important to me. And this is where the vulnerability begins. I usually start my speeches off when I'm talking about this kind of stuff with a glass of water. In this instance, a bottle of water here. And it's because it's a reminder to me, and it always is, and has been a reminder to me of where I come from. How I was raised, the experiences that I had as a child. You see, because right now, I'm drinking out this fancy Kroger bottle of water. Bottled water. But when I was a kid, water wasn't a given. My mama, she had this strange rule in our house. And it was a very strange rule that I one day began to understand the reason behind it. The rule was, if you finish a gallon of milk, you better be sure that you rinse that gallon of milk out, the jug, when it's all done, and fill it back up with water. And put that water back into the refrigerator. And don't touch it. And if you touch it, if you drink some water out that milk jug, you're going to get in trouble. And though sometimes we have more milk jugs with water in them than we have milk jugs with milk in them in our refrigerator. Didn't really understand the reason behind that. I was the oldest in my family and didn't really understand what was going on until one day I came home from school and I was a latchkey kid. So my mom, my dad, worked at Safeway. He was a produce worker. That's what he did. And what I mean by that, he lined up the fruits and vegetables. You pick up an apple, he replaced that apple. That was his job. My mama worked odd and end jobs here and there, and so I was a latchkey kid. Came home one day from school and I wanted to give me a glass of water. All of a sudden I turned the faucet on and the water wouldn't come out. The water had been turned off. And then my mom explained to me, well, this is the reason why I have you to put jugs of water in the refrigerator. Because she said, the water will get cut off. And you always have to have something to drink in your house, which is why I have you guys fill up these water jugs, these milk jugs of water in. And she gave me a new rule that I took into my young adult life and actually used. She said, when you go rent your house, or go rent your apartment, she didn't say buy, y'all. She said, when you go rent your house, or when you go rent your apartment, you be certain that it has gas in the house or the apartment to keep you warm, to be sure. But it needs to have an electric stove. She said you need to have gas and electric in the house because when the gas gets cut off, not if. She said when the gas gets cut off, you can take those jugs of water I had you put into the refrigerator, pour one into a pot, put that pot on the electric stove, heat it up, and pour that hot water into the tub so you can take your warm bath at night. That's how I grew up. I grew up taking baths with boiled water. I grew up not knowing that the gas and the lights and the electricity would come on in the house. Like I said, my mom and dad worked hard, and I didn't really understand what the problem was with that. My mom and dad divorced when I was 10 years old. And my mama told me, you are now the man of the house. I'm like, yeah, I can tell everybody what to do. I'm the man of the house. I'm a 10-year-old man of the house. And she said, that means you got now responsibilities that you got to take care of. That means you got to ensure that your younger brothers get dinner at night, and that they get breakfast in the morning, and that you help them get to school, and that you help them with the homework at night. She said, but you got a main job that you got to do. And that main job is to, and this is her quote, and I use this with my own kids, keep your head in the books. I know you still got to study. I expect you to do what you're supposed to do academically, in addition to all these other tasks you have as man of the house. Now, eventually my stepdad came into the picture. He took over that job, and that was cool. But the reason why I share that with you is because it helped me with a focus. And my mom, she learned about this program called Project Upward Bound. Anybody ever heard of Project Upward Bound? Project Upward Bound was a program for people like me whose parents didn't go to college. My dad dropped out in the 11th grade. My mama finished high school, but she didn't go to college. And it was people like me whose parents didn't go to college or who were too poor to be able to afford college. And Project Upward Bound saved my life. I don't mean that figuratively. I mean literally saved my life. And the reason why is because, you see, the neighborhoods I grew up in, it was a problem if I was hanging out on the street corners. It was a problem if I was hanging out in the streets at all. And so instead of me being on the street corners on Saturdays with my friends, I was at Southern Methodist University in Dallas studying on Saturdays. 3.5 years of my high school life, I was at Upward Bound almost every Saturday during the school year studying. Instead of me hanging out in the summers on the streets with my friends, I was at SMU on campus studying for 6 weeks. Upward Bound saved my life. It kept me off the streets. Now, the reason why I share that, again, is because I have a great appreciation for programs that the government put on that help people. Sound familiar? Now I transitioned, and this is where I want to kind of talk a little bit about your circumstances, right? Because we all make mistakes. Some mistakes are different than other mistakes. I don't quantify them or qualify them necessarily as better mistakes, worse mistakes. We all make mistakes. And in fact, let's not use the word mistake. A mistake is if I actually step on your foot. Some of us make bad decisions. Some of us have a choice to make, and we choose to do the wrong thing. We choose to do the bad thing, the thing that will hurt us. And the reason why I share that is because I transitioned from tough times and tough neighborhoods because of Project Upward Bound to Texas A&M University. This ring right here is a very important ring to me. This is my class ring from Texas A&M University. It's important because when I graduated, I couldn't afford this ring. On my 5th wedding anniversary, my wife bought me this ring. And it's near and dear to me because it again reminds me of my transition. See, my transition wasn't just one from being a guy in a tough neighborhood and going through tough times. It was also going from a young boy to a young man. And I made some bad decisions. I'm going to tell you the truth about those bad decisions. Some of these bad decisions you may have heard about when I ran for this office. So I'm going to tell you about them because they make me who I am today. And they inform what it is that's important to me, why these programs are important to me, why I advocate for these programs. And my job, if you would ask somebody who the AG is, they would say he's the top law enforcement officer in the state, which means I put people in jail. That's what they understand this job to be. So let me tell you about some of the bad decisions I made. But one of them was I was 18 years old. I was a freshman in college. I was at Texas A&M, and I lived on the north side of campus in Crocker Hall. And a lot of my friends lived on the south side of campus in the Commons. And every once in a while, I would go to the south side of campus and I'd hang out with my friends. And on one particular occasion, I think it was a Thursday night because I remember watching It's a Different World and The Cosby Show that night. And we were on the south side having a good time, watching TV, and I drank. Drinking age is 21, I'm 18, I'm breaking the law, bad decision, shouldn't be doing it. I shouldn't be doing it. In fact, I drank so much that I was inebriated. I'm going to use that phrase, right? So I decide that I'm going to walk from the Commons back to Crocker Hall, which is where I live. I'm going to walk. I walk from the Commons to Crocker Hall, and as I was walking to my dorm, campus police saw me. Campus police pull up, and they stop me, and they have a few options at that point, if you ask me. One of those options could have been, so we see you are probably been drinking, and we're going to follow you home to your Crocker Hall to ensure you don't stumble in the ditch or hurt yourself. We want you to get up to the 4th floor of Crocker Hall and lay your head on your pillow safely. Or they could have put me in the back of their squad car and driven me to Crocker Hall so that I can get up to the 4th floor and lay my head on my pillow without hurting myself. Or they could have arrested me for public intoxication, which I think they did. They arrested me for public intoxication. So since I've been 18 years old, depending upon how the question is asked, Judge Gonzalez, I've had to answer yes when the question is, have you ever been arrested for anything other than a minor traffic violation? So I understand what it means to have to try to fill out a job application and have to explain a quote-unquote criminal history. That was a bad decision that I made. Some want to minimize it, but it's following me for, I'm 40-something. I'm 40-something. That was when I was 18. I made a few other bad decisions. You see, I lived in Dallas, Texas. That's where I'm born and raised. And I was in College Station where I was going to Texas A&M. It was 3.5 hours away because it was 65 miles an hour to get home. I didn't want to spend 3.5 hours getting home. I wanted to get on 2.5 hours sometimes. So I was speed, and I would get tickets. And some of those tickets, most of those tickets, I didn't pay. In Texas, when you get a speeding ticket and you don't pay it, it goes to warrant. And if you get a warrant and you don't show up to deal with the issue, you get what's called an FTA, a failure to appear. So those got me in trouble. I made a number of bad decisions until one moment in my life, age 21. My whole focus changed. At age 21, right after the end of my junior year, I became a parent. 6 months later, I was a single parent. My baby's mother and I split up. I took custody of my son, and I immediately thought about dropping out of college. I'll just be honest with you, because where I came from, you didn't even acknowledge having a kid, let alone taking care of one. And I wanted to be a little different. I said, I'm gonna drop out of college, I'm gonna take care of my kid, take care of the responsibility that I now have. So that's what I was gonna do. Junior year, 1 year left, and I was gonna drop out. But thank goodness I had a supportive family, and I had a supportive government. Here we go again with this government word. You see, instead of me dropping out, I got on welfare. I got on Section 8 housing. I got on food stamps. That's when food stamps, you would tear them out the thing. I ain't talking about the little credit card y'all get to use now. I'm talking about when you had to sit in line and tear out food stamps to get, you know what I'm talking about. Food stamps. I got on Medicaid. And I got on women, infant, and children. Yeah, men get wicked too. I got on all of that welfare. I raised myself my last year of college, and I graduated. Now, I ain't not saying this so you can clap or give me a pat on the back, but understand this. I almost went from having 0 degrees to 8 years later having 5 degrees. And those 5 you heard her talk about, those 5 include my law degree and a PhD. The reason why I share it with you is because, again, I made some bad decisions, but I was able to overcome some of those bad decisions, and that's how we bring it home to what you're going through right now. You graduate. You made some decisions, acknowledge what they are, they were bad decisions, and you've been given an opportunity through these programs to reintegrate back into our society. And as you do that, you can accomplish goals. I'm certain that you have goals set for yourself now. I see a lot of graduates in here. I see a lot of family members here of graduates. Even if the graduates don't have family here, I see judges and workers sitting all around here who support you. And understand, sitting in front of you right now is the Attorney General, the top law enforcement officer in the state, who supports you too. So I want to encourage you. I want you to hear my story. Because a lot of people, they see the end result, Judge. They think, oh, he got everything. They don't know the struggle and the story behind how you got to where you are. They don't understand some of the bad decisions that you made that you've been able to overcome. They don't understand the struggle. I'll never forget, I was a brand new daddy. My welfare hadn't been approved yet. So I was living on campus in Texas in a dorm that didn't have any air. But that's all I could afford. It's hot. There's a big dog down there. And I would go home every weekend. I had a hoopty. Y'all still say hoopty? I don't know. I had a hoopty. I would drive home every weekend to see my son, who was living with my mom at the time. And one day I wanted to go home, and my tire had a slow leak in it. So I stopped at the tire shop with a couple of bucks in my pocket, intending to patch the tire because I couldn't afford a new tire. And I walk up and I asked the man, can you patch my tire? You may have heard this before. He looked at the tire and he saw what the leak was. He was like, nah, I'm sorry. This is the kind of leak that requires a new tire. I can't patch the side of it or whatever the case is. I didn't have no money. So he said, I know you don't have any money, and so I'm going to put this tire on your car and you can pay it off over time. And I paid him off too slowly. And he filed a theft charge against me. So you saw the reports, Aaron Ford stole some tires. First off, it was only one tire, it wasn't tires. And it wasn't stealing the way that you hear, that you really think of stealing. There was a payment dispute, and as soon as I paid the tire off, the charges were dismissed. That's followed me for my life. But you still see that I'm endeavoring to do better, not just for myself, but for others. I'm proud to say, as I close, that baby I had when I was a junior in college is now a 26-year-old student at Georgetown studying medicine. Yeah, he has 4 degrees of his own. I'm proud to say that I'm also raising 2 other sons and a nephew. My bio says 4 sons, but my nephew, we call him a son, so 3 sons and a nephew. My middle son's going to college in 2 weeks, Southern Methodist University back in Dallas, which saved my life. My youngest son is 14, going to high school next year. My nephew we raised is down in Dallas and he's working. And my wife and I have done the very best that we can to demonstrate to them what good parents look like, what good husbands and wives look like in that interaction, what good social citizens look like. These are lessons that we're trying to teach our kids so that our kids will teach their kids, and so on and so on. I'm proud of you. And I'm glad that you're going to be joining us back in society with a brand new opportunity to move your life forward on a positive basis. If there's anything ever that my Attorney General's office can do, you let us know. We run things a little differently over there now. I run public information campaigns telling you how to seal your records. I'll put people in jail, but I also tell you how to seal your record if you, for example, were convicted of smoking marijuana. Well, I tell you how to get your right to vote back after you get out of jail. So I tell you that just to say, if there's anything you think our office ever can do to help you out, please let us know. I'm delighted to be here with you all. Thank you, Your Honor, for having me here. Congratulations, graduates.
Thank you so much for your moving story and giving us such a wonderful example that everyone can strive for.